Have you ever noticed how the biggest compliment adults gave you as a kid is the very thing that makes your life feel so heavy right now? They called you so mature for your age or an old soul, and you wore those words like a badge of honor while you were busy skipping about 15 chapters of your own childhood. But there is a hidden, darker truth about being the reliable one that nobody warns you about. That exceptional maturity wasn't a personality trait you were born with. It was a survival adaptation, a way for your nervous system to navigate a world that felt too big or too unpredictable for a child to handle alone. You didn't just grow up. You built an entire operating system around the idea that stability depended entirely on your ability to hold everything together. Think about your daily life right now. You probably handle massive, high-stakes crises at work or in your family with your eyes closed, yet you struggle with the simplest things, like asking for help or resting without a crushing sense of guilt. To you, rest doesn't feel like a luxury. It feels dangerous, because you learned early on that if you let your guard down, things might fall apart. Your nervous system has been stuck in crisis mode since you were in elementary school, which is why you feel a bone-deep tiredness that 1,000 nights of sleep can't seem to fix. You aren't just tired. You're exhausted from a lifetime of being the conductor of everyone else's emotional orchestra. You've likely become an emotional Wi-Fi router, constantly downloading the stress, anxiety, and hidden tensions of every room you walk into. You can read a micro-expression or a tonal shift before most people even realize a conversation has started, but that superpower comes with a price tag. Because you learned to manage the emotional labor of the adults around you before you could even read chapter books, your worth became permanently tangled with your usefulness. You feel like you have to be productive, low maintenance, and the one with all the answers just to earn your place in the room. This is why your relationships can feel like a series of projects rather than partnerships. You might find yourself naturally attracted to people who need fixing, because being needed is the only version of love your brain truly recognizes. Receiving consistent, stable love feels oddly wrong or uncomfortable, like you're just waiting for the other shoe to drop, because home was historically a place where you gave endlessly and receiving was rare. You live as a walking paradox, tough enough to survive any storm, yet so guarded that you feel completely alone even when you're surrounded by people who rely on you every single day. But the most painful part of this dark side is the grief you carry for a version of yourself you barely even remember. You're homesick for the child who should have been allowed to be messy, needy, and irresponsible without consequence. You grieve this softness you weren't allowed to keep and the freedom of moving through the world without rehearsing every conversation or anticipating danger in every silence. The truth is, you aren't broken for feeling this way. You've just spent so long being a human doing that you've forgotten how to be a human being. It's time to realize that you don't have to run the show anymore, and that being a beginner at being taken care of is the bravest thing you can do. You've held on tight for so long. Imagine what it would finally feel like to let go and realize that you are enough, even when you have nothing to give. Comment below if you ever felt that, and like and subscribe to see more great content here.